Have you ever felt the raw power of nature staring back at you? Teeth bared, claws ready?
An alligator has a woman. How big is it? It's a alligator. It's huge. I don't have anything to get to her.
In the wild, survival is brutal. And sometimes, humans find themselves on the losing side.
He bided time for his friends to escape, but he lost his life.
These are the terrifying stories of people who faced nature's deadliest hunters and never made it out alive. From the deep jungles to the open seas, these encounters weren't just close calls. They were fatal. Brace yourself as we reveal real-life stories of people who were brutally killed by animal attacks.
We have two dogs rampaging out in the hall, up on the 6th floor, and I think even their owner cannot control them.
On January 26, 2001, Diane Whipple returned to her San Francisco apartment after a routine grocery run. As she approached her front door, two enormous Presa Canario dogs, Bane and Hera, burst out from a nearby apartment. They belonged to Robert Knoll and Marjorie Knoller, who were raising the dogs for a convicted inmate running an illegal dog breeding ring. Bane, weighing over 120 pounds, attacked first, tearing into Diane's neck, arms, and face with relentless force. Hera soon joined in, leaving Diane with 77 bite wounds.
She's been bit by a dog, and I knew exactly what dogs.
Her screams echoed through the apartment hall, but no one could get close enough to intervene. By the time paramedics arrived, she was barely alive and tragically succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. Bane was put down immediately, while Hera was euthanized after a lengthy court battle. Marjorie Knoller was convicted of second-degree murder, setting a chilling precedent in fatal dog attacks. November 8, 2005, started like any other day for Kenton Joel Carnegie, a 22-year-old geology student conducting fieldwork in the remote forests of Saskatchewan, Canada. Despite warnings from locals about wolves spotted near the camp, Kenton often took solitary walks through the wilderness. That afternoon, he ventured out alone one last time. When he didn't return, a frantic search began. Hours later, searchers discovered a horrifying scene. Kenton's mangled body, surrounded by wolf tracks and blood-stained snow. His injuries were catastrophic, confirming a fatal wolf attack, the first documented in modern Canadian history. Experts concluded the wolves, already accustomed to scavenging human waste, had lost their natural fear of people, turning Kenton into prey. His tragic death remains a rare and chilling reminder of the wild's unpredictability. But what happens when the threat isn't an unfamiliar predator, but something much smaller and even bolder? Stay tuned for a fatal encounter no one saw coming.
Toronto folk singer is dead after she was attacked by a pair of coyotes.
Taylor Mitchell, a 19-year-old rising folk singer, was enjoying a solo hike through Cape Breton Highlands National Park on October 27, 2009. The forest trails were serene, but they also concealed a deadly danger. As she walked, two large eastern coyotes appeared on the trail, showing no fear. Taylor's attempt to retreat failed, and the animals attacked with terrifying aggression. They bit her arms, legs, and head as she fought desperately for survival. Her screams echoed through the woods, alerting nearby hikers who immediately called for help. Rescuers arrived, but Taylor's injuries were too severe. She passed away in the hospital that night. Her death shocked wildlife experts, as fatal coyote attacks on humans are extremely rare. Park rangers eventually tracked and killed the responsible coyotes. But not every predator is driven by hunger. Our next story reveals what happens when a trusted bond between man and beast shatters in the most horrifying way. In the heart of South Africa, Leon van Biljon, known as the Lion Man, dedicated his life to raising lions on his game reserve. He raised them from cubs, believing their bond was unbreakable, but wild instincts can never be tamed. On August 20th, 2019, while performing routine maintenance inside the lion's enclosure, something triggered their primal hunting instincts. In a deadly moment, the lions he had cared for so lovingly turned on him. They knocked him down and mauled him mercilessly, leaving his staff powerless to intervene. The 3 lions involved, Rambo, Nikita, and Katrin, were shot dead by staff members. This action was taken to allow emergency responders to safely reach Van Biljon's body. The decision to euthanize the lions was made on site to ensure the safety of all present.
A 17-year-old boy killed by a polar bear while on a camping trip in northern Norway.
For 17-year-old Horatio Chappell, a summer Arctic expedition to Svalbard, Norway, was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. But in the vast, frozen wilderness, even the best-laid safety plans can fail. As his group camped near a remote glacier on August 5, 2011, a 600-pound polar bear silently approached their tents. Before anyone could react, the bear ripped through the fabric and dragged Horatio outside. The group leaders scrambled for their rifle, but it jammed repeatedly, leaving them defenseless. The bear mauled Horatio before finally being shot and killed.
A polar bear did get into their camp, and Horatio was attacked, and in that time that he was attacked, he put up a huge sort of defense, and I think he bided time for his friends to escape, but he lost his life.
His death led to sweeping safety reforms for Arctic expeditions, including reinforced tents and mandatory firearm inspections. Next, we dive into the deep, where an ocean giant turns a peaceful swim into a living nightmare. On June 8, 2023, 23-year-old Russian tourist Vladimir Popov was snorkeling off the idyllic shores of Hurghada, Egypt, accompanied by his girlfriend, Anastasia, and his father, Yuri. The crystal-clear waters masked a deadly threat lurking below, a tiger shark on the hunt. Without warning, the shark attacked, delivering a devastating bite to Vladimir's legs. In a frenzied struggle, the predator thrashed and pulled him deeper into the water. Terrified onlookers could only watch as the ocean turned red with blood. His desperate attempts to escape were in vain. Yuri, standing helplessly on the shore, witnessed the horrifying scene as his son screamed, "Papa, Papa," before being dragged underwater. Anastasia, who was in the water with Vladimir, managed to escape the attack unharmed. Authorities later captured and killed the shark, citing possible illegal fishing as the reason it ventured so close to shore. In our next story, terror strikes from a murky pond where a serene walk turns into a fight for survival.
Elderly woman killed in South Florida after wildlife officials say she was attacked by an alligator.
On February 20th, 2023, 85-year-old Gloria Surge took her usual walk along a peaceful pond near her home in Fort Pierce, Florida, her small dog by her side. But what started as a tranquil afternoon quickly turned into a deadly encounter caught on camera. Out of nowhere, a 10-foot alligator surged from the water with terrifying speed, its cold, unblinking eyes locked on her dog. In a desperate attempt to save her pet, Gloria pulled the leash back, but she lost her balance and fell, giving the predator the opening it needed. The gator clamped onto her leg and dragged her into the water, launching into a brutal death roll. Her horrified neighbor, who witnessed the entire scene,
by a gator that had come up out of the water and had her leg.
immediately called 911, pleading for help.
An alligator has a woman! my, how big is it? It's a huge gator. It's huge. I don't have anything to get to her.
Emergency responders arrived, but it was already too late. Gloria had been pulled under and drowned. But this isn't the only time a predator has turned a peaceful home into a scene of horror. Next, we uncover a chilling case involving dangerous pet reptiles inside a man's own apartment. In February 2002, 42-year-old Ronald Huff was found dead in his Delaware apartment under chilling circumstances. His body was partially consumed by his 7 Nile monitor lizards, large, aggressive reptiles known for their powerful bites. Investigators uncovered that 2 weeks before his death, Huff had been bitten by 1 or more of his lizards, causing a serious staph infection. Despite the worsening symptoms, he never sought medical treatment. His apartment, kept at a sweltering 80 degrees Fahrenheit for the reptiles, may have worsened his already fragile condition. When police arrived, they found Huff's lifeless body, showing clear signs of post-mortem consumption by the starving lizards. However, an autopsy couldn't confirm whether the reptiles killed him or fed on him after he died from the infection or other health issues. But not all deadly animal encounters happen behind closed doors. In July 2022, 27-year-old snake enthusiast Elliot Sensman was at home in Upper Macungie, Pennsylvania, handling his massive 18-foot pet python, a constrictor capable of crushing large prey with its powerful coils. What began as a routine interaction quickly turned into a deadly encounter. While handling the 150-pound snake, Elliot suddenly lost control. In an instant, the python wrapped itself around his neck and chest, squeezing with deadly force. Family members called 911, frantically reporting that Elliot was being strangled and couldn't breathe. When emergency responders arrived, they struggled to pry the massive snake off his body. Despite their efforts, Elliot suffered fatal injuries and was pronounced dead at the hospital. Nature is as beautiful as it is unforgiving. These stories remind us that the wild isn't just a backdrop, it's a battleground where survival isn't guaranteed. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more tales of nature's darkest encounters, be sure to subscribe. Stay curious, stay cautious, and we'll see you in the next chapter of nature's untamed fury.